311. Call.
He called?
Yeah, he called.
Whoa.
I'm all in.
All in.
I got
More than
567. Welcome back to the vlog. We're going to be off at Capital Casino. This episode is going to cover 2 days worth of playing over at Capital in the 1-3 game. Action's been great, and I get off to a quick start. Anyway, sit back, relax, enjoy. Here it comes. I'm in the small blind with 2 8s. There is a limper from middle position. Button puts in a small raise to $12. I put in the call. Big blind and the limper also put in the call. So we're going to go 4 ways to a flop with $48 in the pot. We get a flop of 10 deuce-deuce with 2 diamonds. Interesting flop. Our opponent, if they don't have some sort of overpair or a 10, we're probably in the lead. I ended up checking it, and so the other 2 players. The player on the button now bets out $22. For this price, I'm going to peel and see another card. Not quite sure if my hand is strong enough to put in a raise. If they're bluffing, I want them to continue to bluff. Turn card comes as a 4 of hearts. I check again. I expect my opponent to slow down with everything that's not a pair. They don't slow down. They end up betting $40. So I'm thinking they might have something like pocket jacks or pocket queens. I call not because I want to catch an 8, but because I can represent a diamond or an overcard. And I get both on the river of an ace of diamonds. At this point, it's a perfect card to bluff at. So I make a bet for $75. And they quickly fold, saying, you got lucky, you got your flush. All right, under the gun opens for a raise to 10. I get 2 callers from people in the late position. I'm on the button with 5-7. I put in the call. So does the small and big blinds. So we go 6 way to a flop of 6-3-4 with 2 hearts. Yeah, we flop a straight with a straight flush redraw. Small blind now leads out for $25. Big blind puts in the fold. And the initial raiser from under the gun puts in the quick call. The other 2 players decide to get out of the way, and now it's to me. I got the nuts. I got 2 people interested in the pot. I go, let's build a pot. So I decide to raise to 90. The small blind thinks for just a little bit before deciding to shove all in. He has about $310 in front of him. So when he makes this shove, I'm thinking he has either a straight, a set. I'm not even sure whether he would do this with 2 pair. Maybe 6-4 is probably the weakest hand I'll put him on. The other player puts in the quick call, which was rather surprising. So once I verify that he called, I decided to shove all in myself. I have about $257 more than he originally called. So if he calls here, we're going to have a side pot of about $514. After the dealer made a quick count, the player does announce that they're calling. So I turn my hand face up. He has ace queen of hearts. I just have to dodge a heart, which I do. The board paired on the end, and I was concerned that the other player might have a full house, but he actually flopped the small end of the straight with 5 deuce, and the other player never made his flush. So we're taking down this $1,500 pot, and it's headed our direction. I just want to say this is probably the best start of a session I've had all year long. Normally I get buried, $300-400 right off the bat, and then I have to fight my way back. Not today. Today I'm starting off with like $1,100 in my stack after the first 30 minutes. After 1 player limps, I make it 15 with ace-9 suited. Player directly behind me puts in the quick call for the 15, and so does the other player. So we're going to go 3 ways to this flop with $49 in the pot. Flop comes out pretty darn good. It comes ace jack 9. So I flop top and bottom. Excellent flop for my hand. It's check to me. I decide to bet for $30. Player directly behind me likes it too. He decides to shove all in. He only started the hand with about $100. So easy call for me once the other person folds out. and we can see a runoff of a king of diamonds and a four of hearts. I turn over my hand and he shows me ace king. I ended up playing for about another 3 hours. Wasn't running good. Completely card dead. Switched tables. Completely card dead. So after spending 4 hours there, the first hour was pretty exciting and fun. The last 3 hours was just torturous. Anyway, I ended up going home, calling it a night, and came back the next day fresh. All right, it's the next day. I buy in for 500, look down at 2 nines from under the gun, open for a raise to 15. End up getting 2 callers before the small blind decides just to rip in his whole stack. He doesn't have much, maybe 60, 70 bucks. Of course, I'm going to be calling that at least, but I really don't want to have the other people tag along. So I'm going to try to just shut them out by raising to $215, which does the trick. Both the other players end up folding. So now I got some extra dead money in the pot going against this player with $68. I figure I'm probably way ahead, but he probably has 2 overcards to my pair. Flop comes king, queen, queen, not very good. Turn card's a 4 and a river card is an ace. And he rolls over ace and a 4. So he takes this one down. I like the play. I just don't like the results. I look down at king 10 of hearts, open up for 20 from the low jack. The button puts in the call for the 20. It's folded around to the player in the big blind who also puts in the call. So we're going to end up going 3 ways to this flop with $61 in the pot. Flop comes out king 8-9 with 2 diamonds and a heart. So I got top pair, some straight draws, and a backdoor flush draw. First person checks. I decide to bet 30. And now the button decides on a jam. Now he has about $60 or so. The other player folds out. And I'm thinking, if he has a king, I'm probably beat, because unless he's playing something like king 7 or worse. So I'm not really thrilled about that, but there are so many possible draws out there. And I'm thinking that he's more likely to do this with a draw than he is with a hand like king 9. He might have something like 8-9 and do it. But I think I have the right price to go ahead and continue, just because he could be on a draw. He only had a couple dollars left, so I just checked it down to him, and he never put it in. But he did show that he had the ace 3 of diamonds. There's a $6 straddle on this hand. I'm in the big blind with jack 10 suited. I complete for the $3, and so we go 5 ways to a flop of 8-6-4 with 2 spades. Ended up checking it to player on the button, who puts in a small bet for $15. Player in the small blind puts in the call, and so do I. I think with 2 overcards and a flush draw and some sort of straight draw, I have a lot of equity in this hand. Turn card comes as an 8. The small blind checks, and at this point I decided to try to represent an 8, so not to give anyone a free card. It seems like there are many draws out here, maybe straight draws, or maybe someone's betting a 6. So I lead out for $40. Kind of an unusual line, and I get called in 2 spots. So I'm going to shut down unless a spade comes, and we get the ace of spades on the end. First player checks. I decide to bet for 80. I'm afraid that I might lose some action with that ace because someone might have a pocket pair or perhaps a 6 and not want to call. Plus it's a spade, let's face it. There's all sorts of flushes out there. It's folded back to the player in the small blind who hems and haws for a little bit before finally putting in the call. I show him that I had the jack 10 of spades. He mucks his hand. He later told me that he had a 6. There were 3 limpers in front of me, and I looked down at 2 jacks. I raised to 25. Player in the small blind puts in the call. Solid player. Next player puts in the call also. Third player puts in the call. And the last person decides on making a raise to $120. Now this is music to my ears. He has about 400 or so in front of him. And let's face it, anyone who limps in after 2 other limpers, they're not going to have my jacks beat. So they might have something like ace king, ace queen, king queen, something like that. And for $400, I'm going to try to isolate them. So when it gets back around to me, you know what I'm going to do. That's right. I'm going to go all in. So I shove for about $740. Player behind me puts in a quick fold. I later found out that he had ace queen. The player with the short stack goes ahead and sticks his remaining stack in there. The other player thinks for a little bit. He has me covered. He has probably about, I don't know, 1400 in front of him. And he thinks for a while and finally folds. The player next to him, who had the $120 raise, thinks for a long time, and he ends up folding also. He later told me that he had king queen suited. So it looks like I got ace queen to fold and king queen to fold. And I'm going to go heads up to a flop with my jacks against the short stack. And the flop comes ace, ace, 5. Turn card is a 9. River card is a king. I beat the small stack, and I would have lost to the other two players for sure. Happy to take this one down. Glad I got them to fold. Well, the game has gone a little short. I'm in middle position, and I open for a raise and make it 15. Player to my direct left puts in the call, and we see a flop of 8-8-7. I decide to check it, and he checks it back. Turn card is a beautiful jack of clubs. I make a full house. Only way to get value from this is to let him bluff at it, so I check it again to him. He makes a small bet for $20. I hem and haw for a minute, and then I put in the call. I'm thinking he has a hand like ace high and is just stabbing at this. If a blank comes, I expect him to stab again. River card comes as a 7 of spades. Now he has 8s and 7s with whatever kicker he has. If he has an ace, he might want to try to get me off a chop. And he bets $45, which is a fine bet for me. And of course, I'm going to be raising in this spot, just trying to pick a good sizing. I decided to go for 120. It might be a little bit too big because this is a very competent player and he probably sniffing out this. In fact, after the hand was over, he ended up folding and he told me that he probably had pocket jacks there. And he was spot on with that assessment. A very aggressive player sits down at the table and opens for a raise to 20. I look down at 2 queens and I go ahead and isolate by raising to 60. He puts in the call and we're going to go heads up to a flop, just the two of us with 124 in the center. Flop is pretty good. Comes 10-10-3. So if he doesn't have a 10, I'm in great shape. He checks it over to me. I'm going to try to get value from someone with a pocket pair smaller than queens because he's not going to have too many straight or flush draws. So I bet 40, hoping that someone with pocket 7s or 8s will come along. He puts in the quick fold and we take down this small pot. I'm in the cutoff with ace queen suited. Player straddled for 10. I made it 30. Only the straddler puts in the call. Flop comes ace 8-7. He checks to me. I decide to check this back just for a little deception. Turn card comes as a 2 of spades. So now there's 2 flush draws out there, a straight draw or 2, and he leads into me for $50. Rather large bet on his part. This could be a set, or this could be him representing a set, or maybe a strong ace. I decided to put in a call. River card comes as a 9 of diamonds, and he leads into me again, this time for 150. And I'm really concerned that he's maybe flopped a set of 8s or 7s, but so many draws missed. I mean, the flush draws missed. The only straight draw that really gets there is the 5-6. I don't think he has that. I put myself in a tough spot by checking back this. I probably should have led on the flop. But I make a crying call, and he shows me pocket deuces. Oh man, this one hurt. A simple c-bet would have won it on the flop. All right, there's a $6 straddle on this hand. I open for a raise to 25 with Jack 9 suited. Folded over to the player in the big blind, who's a competent player, and I've played with quite a bit recently. He decides to make it 75. I don't really like it. He's probably has me crushed. Maybe a big pair, maybe a strong ace, or maybe he's just trying to squeeze me because he thinks I'm weak. Anyway, it's folded back around to me, and I'm going to make the call here. There is some merit to just letting this one go, but with our size stacks, I figure, what the heck, let's go for it. I might be able to double through them. Flop comes out ace 8-6 with 2 clubs. He checks it over to me. He could be checking a strong ace for pot control, or he could have some sort of medium pocket pair or large pocket pair that he's not too happy to see the ace. With a flush draw and the potential straight draws, I decide to bet 65, and he puts in the quick call. Turn card comes is a 6. Not a great card for my particular hand, but it does really help a hand like a lone ace. So after he checks again, I decide to just go for it, and I bet 120, and he quickly mucks his hand, and we take this one down with our draw. Still stacking the chips from that last hand when I looked down at 2 9s from the cutoff. I put in the call for the 15 after somebody raised it. Ended up going 5 ways to a flop with 75 in the pot. Flop comes out pretty darn good. It comes 9-3 deuce with 2 diamonds. So top set, there is potential someone having a flush draw. It gets checked around to me. I decided to bet for $35. Now, there is merit to checking this back and letting someone try to catch up a little bit since I have such a powerful hand. But after I did that on the ace, queen of diamonds hand and someone made a set of deuces, I just figure I'm just going to bet my hand. If I get action, I get action. So I get one player putting in the call, and we're headed off to the turn of a queen of spades. Shouldn't really change too much. Maybe they got lucky and spiked a queen or something. I just decided just to bet my hand outright. If he has something, let him pay to get there. If he doesn't, oh well. He ends up folding. He probably didn't have much to begin with. So we take down this last pot and call it a night. So over the 2-day period, I did all right, 114.75. That first day, I got off to a great start and then just went completely card dead for about 3 hours, just anteing off and maybe seeing a flop or two, but couldn't make anything happen. Second day was just a lot of grinding. Got into some interesting spots where I had to re-raise the short all-in player, trying to isolate them. It ended up working out in my favor this time, so happy about that. The hand where I had pocket jacks, I got someone with ace queen to fold and someone with king queen to fold. Either one of them would have had me beat, if not both of them. So really happy that one went my direction. Wasn't a great big pot, but I think that isolation raise on my part saved me a ton of money. Anyway, I really do appreciate you guys tuning in and watching. I appreciate your feedback. I'm trying to do some updates to the channel. Still working on some things. I got some good suggestions last week, so I hear you. I'm trying to make things a little bit better, a little bit more entertaining for you also. Until next time, good luck at the tables, and we'll see you back here real soon.